everyone, today I am doing another tag. I will be doing the off the top of your head booktube tag. This was created by the library mouse, and I tried really hard to not look at the questions and plan my answers ahead of time. So if I have a lot of moments where I pause because I'm thinking, I'm very sorry. That's just how my brain works. So anyways, question number 1 is, what was your favorite picture book as a child? And my favorite picture book as a child was Flutterby by, oh, now his name, Stephen Cosgrove. And I actually have it. I'm going to go grab it and bring it back. Sorry if I'm totally in a different place now. I will probably be getting up and grabbing books throughout this video just because I like to show the books I'm talking about. But this was my favorite book as a child. It's just about this little Pegasus. I loved all of the Serendipity books. It's about this little Pegasus that just gets into trouble, and I just loved the picture so much. I thought the art was like the prettiest thing in the world. I always wanted to be able to draw like this, but I checked this out from the library like a million times, and then when I got older, I decided that I wanted to pick up a bunch of my favorites from childhood, and so this is one of my favorites, and I have a bunch more of Stephen Cosgrove's books. The next question is, what series did you love as a child? Bruce Coville. So Bruce Coville had I think it was called the Unicorn Chronicles, but there was only like one book out, at least. There was only one that was at my elementary school. But he also had a series about monsters. It was like the Monster Shop books. I also have those, so I'm going to go grab them and I will be right back again. This video is going to have so many edits and cuts. I'm so sorry. So Into the Land of Unicorns was one of my favorites. Again, I was a unicorn Pegasus girly when I was young. I loved any kind of magical horse. Yeah, Unicorn Chronicles. I don't ever remember reading past this, but I do remember reading, a Magic Shop book. That's what it was called. So The Monsters Ring, Jeremy Thatcher, Dragon Hatcher, and Jennifer Murtley's Toad. These were like, these books, basically anything Bruce Coville, like, were my favorite books. I just loved his books. I loved his magic and his monsters and his fairies and everything. And I reread this one. Actually, I think I read the first 2. I reread these recently, and I still really like them as children's books. I think they hold up really well. So that is my answer for that. What's next? Let's see. The worst book you have read or tried to read. I don't usually like finish books that I'm really not enjoying. I'm a DNFer. I will DNF books all the time. I'm trying to think. Lolita is one that I tried to read, and I knew what it was about, and I wanted to read it because it's a classic, and I wanted to see like what the author was trying to say with the book. And the content just wasn't something that I could read. That's one of the worst books in my opinion. Like, it's one of the worst books for me, but I understand why other people would read that book and say that it's, a classic or that it's a great book. I'm trying to think of any other books that I've actually like read that I would say was like the worst book. I can't think of anything else. I'm just going to stick with Lolita. Let's see. Your favorite reading or book memory? I think my favorite reading memory, and I've talked about this on my channel quite a bit, is just that my family used to go to the library once a week, and we'd pick up a bunch of books, and we'd spend the entire day reading, and that was always just so much fun. I specifically remember that like my spot at home to read after we all got home from the library was under the kitchen table. I would take all my books and I would go under the kitchen table and I would read under the kitchen table. And I don't know why I did that, but that was like my spot. So yeah, that's a really good memory that I have with my family. Let's see, a book you loved as a movie. There are a lot of books actually that I've loved as movies, And I think the reason for that is that I have learned to understand that movies can't always fit in everything that we love about the book. I do have some movie adaptation pet peeves. Maybe I'll do a video on that another time. But some of my favorites were the Lord of the Rings adaptations, the Harry Potter adaptations. I also really love the movie Savages. The book was written by Don Winslow. I loved the movie and recently tried to read the book and couldn't get past like the first 3 pages because it wasn't for me. I probably should have skipped it and then just read from there, but I just wasn't in the mood after reading those first couple pages. Anyways, a book you wish they would make into a movie. If they could do like as good as the Lord of the Rings movies, I would want them to do the Great Coat series by Sebastian de Castell. I'm gonna grab books again. So this is one of my favorite book series of all time. I have read it and reread it. I've recommended it to my dad and my brother. It's one of my favorites. And honestly, if they could give it like Lord of the Rings justice, I would love to see a movie of this series. It's a 4-book series. And so that would be so cool. That would be so cool. Okay. The next is a book character that you would like as a friend. And the first person that comes to mind is Anne Shirley from Anne of Green Gables, the series. But also like Matthew and Marilla, I would love to be friends with them. I love them both so much. I think they're just so, I don't know, their personalities are so great. And I just love Matthew and Marilla. I'm going to grab a book again. I'm so sorry. So Anne Shirley from Anne of Green Gables. I just love how much she loves books and writing and nature and everything. Like she and I could just sit and talk about our like fantasy worlds. Like if we were friends as children, she would have been like my best friend. And yeah, just, I still love her character as she gets older. And I feel like her as a parent and me as a parent, we would be good friends. And then with Matthew and Marilla, like I said, I just love them so much. I would just want to like help out on the farm and then sit and talk to them in the evenings and just, I don't know. I just love their characters so much. Okay, let's see. A place you want to visit because of a book you read. A place I want to, Ireland, because of so many books that I've read. I want to go to Ireland so badly. Any part of Ireland, like I literally don't care. I want to go to Ireland. That's my pick. Next is a nonfiction book you would recommend. This is so hard because nonfiction is very, like that's broad. There's a lot of nonfiction books. And it depends on like who you are and like what kind of stuff you enjoy. Let's see. The first thing that comes to mind is Marie Kondo's book about tidying up. I can't remember what the title is exactly. Again, I have it. Something about the joy of tidying up. This is turning into like, and it's off the top of my head, but also I just want to go and grab things. I'm going to grab 3 different nonfiction books off of my shelves just to like give a variety of things. I will be right back. Okay. So for people who want to, who like reading books about, like lifestyle things, I would recommend The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. I really liked this book. It isn't just about cleaning your house. It is about what you keep in your house and why, and just how the things in your house affect who you are and like your mental state. So that's my first one. For people who maybe want to read a nonfiction that has like, I guess it would be considered a darker tone, I highly recommend All the Living and the Dead. This is by Haley Campbell. This is just basically a woman who goes and talks to a bunch of different people who work in different jobs that have to do with death. So she ends up talking to mass fatality investigators, embalmers, a former executioner, grave diggers, let's see, a homicide detective, crime scene investigators, and crime scene cleaners, like the people who come in and clean up after. It really goes into like all these different jobs that have to do with death and people dying. I think she talks to somebody who works in hospice as well. Anyways, it was a super interesting read. She also talks about like the different perspectives on death and like how that affects us. And yeah, I highly recommend it. And the last one is As You Wish, Inconceivable Tales from the Making of the Princess Bride by Carrie Elwes. Again, I never know how to pronounce his last name. I'm so sorry. If you love The Princess Bride, or if you want kind of a behind the scenes look into a movie that didn't do well in theaters and then became what they call is like a cult classic, this was so good. I highly recommend the audiobook for this because it's actually narrated by almost everyone who was in the movie or working on the movie, except for those who have sadly passed away. But it's so good. So recommend that one too. Sorry, I feel like this is supposed to be like a short video and it's getting so long. Okay, and our last question is, if you could hang out with an author all day, who would you pick and why? Off the top of my head, author, who would I pick and why? Tolkien. That's the first author that comes to my head. And why? Just because I feel like he was such a brilliant man. He was so accomplished. And if he was willing to like tell me all of the history of everything that he ever wrote or wanted to write and why he wrote it the way that he did and everything, like I would just sit there drinking tea and listening to him for hours and hours and hours. Like I couldn't imagine. I think that would be amazing. There are so many other authors that I would love to meet, but off the top of my head, that's my pick. So that is the end of this tag. Sorry, this is way longer than it's probably supposed to be. I'm sure it's supposed to be super quick, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I will be tagging some people down below because I don't know who has already done this tag. If you are not tagged, but you want to do the tag, please do and tag me in it so that I can watch your videos. One of my favorite things on YouTube not only is to talk to people in my comments, but to go and watch the videos that you guys are also making. So link me, let me know what you guys are doing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. But it's about this little Pegabus from the making of the Princess Bride.